Are you in the middle of setting your marketing budget and are uncertain how much you'll need in order to achieve the sales targets that were set for you? Are you frustrated that you, as a marketing leader, didn't have a lot of input into those sales targets in the first place? Are you constantly at odds with the sales team in terms of how those marketing dollars should be allocated and where your attention should be placed? Well, we're going to try to get answers for you to those questions today here on the program. Hello and welcome to HITMC, where we love talking about the latest strategies, news, and insights from the world of healthcare marketing. I'm Colin Hung, and sitting down with me today is Eric Meerschaert, Executive Director of Growth and Innovation at StudioNorth, an agency that has helped hundreds of customers achieve marketing and sales targets. Along with Eric is Doug Duty, Executive Director of Business Development at StudioNorth. Gentlemen, welcome back to the program. Gentlemen, I think there's no doubt about it. We are definitely in challenging times right now. Markets are tight. Sales is tough. What are some of the biggest hurdles that you're seeing out there for marketing leaders and for marketing departments?
Thanks, Colin. I'll jump in first. It's certainly a challenging time for marketing leaders. Looking at 2023, any number of things can happen right now. Just recently, the Council Board of Economic Advisors said that the economy could dip into a short but mild recession by the end of the year or early 2023. The International Monetary Fund said in July that global growth numbers would be down 10%. How do we plan for statements like that? And just exactly what is a short and mild recession? Which sectors are affected? How long? What if growth returns in the second half? It's a complicated set of issues to sort through and have realistic conversations about budgets and KPIs with the organization.
Budgeting is kind of like a black art to a lot of people, right? It's especially in marketing, it is very challenging. You have to factor in like a lot of different things, expected sales, like the overall economy that you just talked about, Eric. Some companies are scaling back in their marketing because of all this uncertainty, while others are taking advantage of the opportunities that the markets are presenting. Why do you think budgeting is especially challenging right now?
We see three things that are contributing to this. The first is top-down planning in an uncertain economy. The second is defending the budget and the effort that really takes. And third, and probably more importantly, more challenging KPIs. Marketers are now being challenged to own more of the funnel. In the past, we were measured by marketing KPIs. Now, marketers are tasked with more than just getting a hand raise. In other words, MQLs are basically SQLs now. Marketing departments now own almost all of the nurture stream. So by the time a lead is handed over, they're basically ready to buy.
Doug, you hit the nail on the head there. It's something that I've certainly felt as a marketer recently, and that is that the expectation for marketing is to really push a lead almost to the point where it's on a silver platter, handed off to the next team, where they are ready to buy. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, it is a good thing, but it's certainly very different than the old days where all you needed was that nibble, right? And that hand raise, as you said, and all you had to do was hand it to somebody after that, and they would run it down. So how can companies address some of these challenges you talked about, Doug? Like you mentioned top-down planning, defending their budget, KPIs. What can they do?
Well, if we all agree that the marketer's role has changed, as we just described, the clearest answer I can give you to that is, as a marketer, you need to know your numbers more intimately than you ever have and across the entire organization. Knowing your numbers is more important than ever right now. If you're in a position where you've been handed arbitrary goals that are not linked to the reality of results, you're in a pretty dangerous place, especially facing this challenging economy that Eric was talking about. We're seeing most clients really don't have this information, or it's viewed very differently throughout the organization. Marketing may not have the approach to defend budgets and respond to these new KPIs and these revised objectives we talked about.
It really begs for a different approach with marketers, that it starts with working with sales to address different targets and establishing shared outcomes. And we're thinking about 5 things here. Number one is flipping the script from top down to bottom up based on bookings objectives. Then better understanding how the 3 to 5 year value of each new customer and existing customer drives the pipeline model. Model changes in sales cycle duration that affect the current pipeline can have a substantial difference on pipeline value and the outcomes in sales. And so determining things like conversion ratios that may change up and down the pipeline are critical. And last, calculating the budget required to hit your new KPIs based on that challenge.
Eric, I want to go back to something you said off the top. It was pretty intriguing. Tell me more about flipping the script.
Okay. Well, marketing has to create leads to generate a number. A top-down model, however, makes it hard to know what marketing can project. So we're going to discuss how you can rebuild or build a marketing budget from the bottom up. Bottom up means starting with the bookings objectives, not the budget, and calculating your pipeline and then imputing the required budgets. And really critical to this approach is getting your conversion ratios right, the rate at which you pull through the funnel. We'll talk about ways to get closer on the ratios and develop a shared outcomes approach to agreeing with sales on the challenges you jointly face to hit the number.
And Eric, can you share an example of that where you've done this with one of your customers?
One of our clients is facing a very realistic budget of 8% on targeted revenues in marketing. That's a standard ratio. This, however, was not going to work. To hit their targets, marketing would need more than like 12% or even higher in the coming year to prepare for the next 2 years' growth. You couldn't make that point arguing top down about the budgets. They needed more facts, like industry benchmarks for investment levels and pipeline conversion rates and sales cycle durations. We used the tool that we created, the market math model, to calculate their bottom-up pipeline levels and required budgets for demand gen and awareness. And that's the idea. We start with sales KPIs, enter several other variables, and it outputs a budget. And that budget could actually be different from the budget you were given. So that's when you start pulling the levers, seeing how you can adjust to goals and KPIs. For instance, to get to the budget, you need to approach your business goals, and you have the facts to justify budgets, changing the nature of the executive dialogue.
It sounds like there's a lot of math. But what you're saying, Doug, is that this math shouldn't scare marketers. And what I'm hearing from you, Eric, is that this math is necessary in order to really do a good job during the budgeting process, which is oh so important for marketers, especially this time of the year. But let me go back to something that I started with, and that was sales and marketing often really don't see eye to eye, right? We've had a lot of discussions out. There's a lot of literature written on this. But when it comes to the marketing budget and the marketing tactics, they especially don't see eye to eye. So how can we use numbers to bring these two groups a little closer together?
Yeah, I'm not really a math guy either, Colin. And I think marketing probably wears too much of this on their shoulders. The point Eric made about shared outcomes is really critical, Colin. Yeah, it's a very important point, Colin, this point about shared outcomes. It's critical. Typically what we see is each department is given their targets and budgets, and sales and marketing may be left to try to figure out how each is going to hit their own numbers, top down, as Eric said. Executive staff, well, they set new sales targets, often with the strongest input coming from sales. The marketing and sales plan their departments with little idea of how to work together to hit those numbers. Our approach is all about sharing a joint pursuit of the outcome. Marketing plus sales plus the agency. We can jointly look at it, decide if it's not working, and rather than point fingers and look at what's not working, we can fix it together with real data. It really changes the game from a promise to a shared pursuit of an outcome. So we all understand the numbers we're pursuing. It's a more positive way of approaching marketing campaigns. Everyone understands each other's jobs better. There's more empathy, shared understanding. And really, I've been through about a dozen of these so far. It's not as hard as it would seem.
But you're right. I mean, I like the how you put it there, Doug, around shared outcome, right? A shared result. And in some ways, as much as marketing is now being asked to nurture a lead, I think the reverse is also true, and probably a result of something you're talking about, which is, hey, sales, we need your help to generate hand raisers, right? Through your networks, through your travels, through your appearances at conferences. You are now part of the marketing team as well. And I think if marketers can flip the script, to borrow a term from Eric, around that and engage the sales team in that way, then that's a mutual pursuit of a goal. But gentlemen, we've really only scratched the surface of some of these challenges and some of these issues. There's a lot more here to explore, more than we've got time for in this video. I understand that StudioNorth is hosting a webinar on this topic very soon. Can you tell us more about that?
We're really excited by it. The workshop is called Leverage the Facts of Market Math. And we think it's very timely because we're in planning season right now. So everyone who's struggling with their numbers or doesn't quite have their arms around them, they should attend it, because it's focused on exactly what Eric talked about. And you just described it really well, Colin: outcome-based marketing. It's Thursday, September 29th at noon CST. And as a fun thing, we've even set up so we can send you lunch. So we'll feed you while you listen and learn about market math.
And Doug, where can people go to learn more about the webinar?
Want to make it as easy as possible. So just click on this link that's on the screen, register, show up, have lunch, ask as many questions as you like. This is a really good topic to dig into together as marketers right now.
Doug, Eric, thank you so much for being on the program today. You've shared a lot of wonderful information. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.